Do you feel lost, just uncertain of what the future holds? And I want you to know you're in good company because many of us feel that same way where we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And we struggle with that with God, praying for Him to let us know what do we need to do? What should we do? What should we focus on? What career path should we take? How do we bring more finances in our home? I just want to share with you the story about Solomon. And the thing is, there's so many videos on Solomon and how he was blessed with wisdom and wealth. And so many videos, especially entrepreneurs that share this now lately, about praying for wisdom and being able to have that wisdom like Solomon did to be blessed. But here's the thing, everyone misses the end result. They look at the beginning of Solomon's life, but they miss completely like what happened to Solomon in the end. So I want to share with you what exactly happened to Solomon and why these things that I feel really took place in his life. And more importantly, God used this story for us to examine and take to heart. So I want you to know that this story is going to relate to you, and it's going to give you a more perspective on how to pray, how to handle those situations that you're currently in, and even how to manage your life with the Lord, how to keep your eyes on Him, even through the toughest times, how to not lose sight of the Lord, not fall into depression and anxiety, but understand a lot of times why you're going through those situations and that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. So when we look at Solomon, he had everything. He had wealth. He was a king. He was wise. People traveled all over to come talk to him to see his wisdom. But then you start to realize he probably had an addiction in his life because you see him have 700 wives and 300 concubines. And a lot of those wives were because of power movements, things to strengthen the kingdom and build relationships. But it doesn't say all 700 of them were from this. And to have 700 wives in just a general area, not the entire world, but just the general area where he was, that's quite a bit. But then he also had 300 concubines also added to that. Here's the thing, and this is the key takeaway out of all this, and this is what I want you to understand, this part of the story. When you look at Solomon, what you see is he never had a real struggle in his life in the beginning. And what I mean by that is you see him at early 20s becoming king, getting blessed by the Lord. You don't really see a lot of struggles he had, because if you look at King David, he fought a lion, he fought a bear, he fought Goliath. He was running for his life because of Saul wanting to kill him for years. So David had a lot of struggles, a lot of character development that the Lord placed on him to be able to become a king that can rule the way that David did. So when you look at David's relationship with the Lord, yes, he sinned. He had Bathsheba and he fell into sin. But when you watched him and read the story about David throughout the Bible, you would see that he always loved the Lord, that his relationship with God, it never got weakened to a point where he turned his back on God ever. He always accepted what he did was wrong, and he just kept on loving the Lord. And whereas Solomon, he didn't have these types of struggles in his life, but was given so much because he had a pure heart at that time that the Lord wanted to bless him. But I strongly believe that the Lord shares these stories of the two like that to show you why every time we pray, we always want to have stuff fixed in our lives instantly. We always want our situations to be fixed. We want our finances to be fixed right away. Even if you're tithing, you're fasting, you're praying, you're doing everything that you feel is lining you up with the Lord, and you're seeking wisdom from the Lord, but yet it's still not being fixed in your life. So you begin to doubt, and you begin to think what you're doing is wrong, or you begin to think God doesn't hear you, and you begin to think that maybe God doesn't want to bless you. But understand, God is protecting you. In those moments, he's absolutely protecting you. So when you look at the two, when you look at King David and you look at King Solomon, God is preventing you from becoming like King Solomon. He doesn't want to give you all these blessings that you cannot handle. Because if he gives them to you, you can find yourself on the same path as King Solomon and just turning your back on God when you had everything. A lot of times God's wanting us to go through the hardships to build a foundation for you to be able to handle the blessings he will absolutely give you. He wants to give you these blessings, but first you have to have that character development, just like King David. Sometimes you have to go out and fight that lion. Sometimes you have to go fight the bear and fight Goliath and run away from Saul, who's chasing you down in life. Because when the time comes and the Lord sees that your heart is ready for the blessing, you will be able to carry it and never grow weary.